It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hi, Nima. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, and I'm super excited.
Who's excited?
I just want to twirl for Kemi Adetiba, 2 hours for one person on the King of Boys Part 2. Thank you so much for giving us a Nigerian story thriller that I can relate with. So I don't watch horror movies, actually. I don't, because the Igbo one used to seem somehow. But this one that I can relate. And I was just doing Yoruba like I was doing Ofo in the house, like I was doing incantation. I was a news dance this weekend. My husband was tired of me shouting, "Can you mark me now?" and all sorts of things. I didn't even know what I was capable of, but it was a
What's that? Bro, that one we liked because we're just in the makeup room. That way, because even your Ferrari, hey, high five!
As in the land is always
this movie. Man, let's not even hype it.
Let's not start. But well done. This is our own Nigerian movie, and I'm although they can disagree, I think this is the real movie, the realest. I've seen it forever.
Okay, thank you for the review and the promotion. How are you doing, Topsy?
I'm good. Had a very...
You know what? See you now. I'm not really looked up. Like, I had a meeting with... Let me not say it. Go ahead. How are you doing?
My hair, Abby.
No worries. I had a meeting with somebody, and he was trying to remember your name. He said, that girl, that hair. The other hair. He said, you kept doing like this. Which one? He kept doing like this.
Okay.
Said, oh, talk. I said, yeah, stop. So then I said, I not remembered. He was kind of like this.
I'm going to braid my hair, so I'll be letting the hair rest before we pack up the hair again. I had a very interesting weekend. Friday was a full day, 12 hours strategy factory training session. Fantastic. And on Saturday, another full-hour training session. So on Sunday, I set up where you're going to watch movie and relax. So I'm grateful to God for the weekend. But I can't wait to hear all that happened with Nurturing the Natural. So
I was getting there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Of the Naturals.
Yes, so it was a very emotional session. You know, we're having to deal with students with different disabilities, and we're explaining how we isolate them for almost all of their lives, and when they become adults, we now want to inculcate them or, you know, integrate them into the society when they haven't learned the skills, when we ourselves haven't learned how to have empathy with them. And I remember I had some, you know, students with disabilities in my secondary school growing up. It was an inclusive education at the time. We had a blind girl, we had a girl with cerebral palsy, and we related. We're in the same class. They had their education. We knew how to handle them. We knew how to deal with them. We're friends. We didn't have this, you know, separation between them because of their disabilities, and they were able to break down some myths. You know, some parents will say, we don't want this kind of child in my class because maybe the spit will now touch my own child, and the child will now definitely have the same yes, but it's not something that's transferable. These are things that happen from birth that you don't transfer with your
was on it.
Yes, she was so amazing.
Toby is a resource on this, but I'd love somebody dig her mom. Because the decision...
So we had somebody who had a child, who has a child who has living with cerebral palsy, and she came from the perspective of a mother and how to handle it. It was such an intense class. Miriam nearly cried. She was like, BC, don't stop this. No matter whether it grows big, it blows or not, do not stop nurturing the nurturer.
Well done. Well, it's always good to give back and to do things that actually affect lives, because I realized that when you're old and grey, you just have to reflect, what have I done?
What legacy
skills? It's about the impact. So don't worry, it's not how big
can be one person.
No matter how much, you know, so just stay where you are, do it well, and just no matter how small it is, until you're impacting lives. I'm so happy about that. That's congratulations.
How are you doing?
Well. I'm doing very well. You know, these are challenging times for me and family, but you know what? Hey, listen, we'll scale through this. It's a phase, and I believe
this too shall pass.
This too shall pass. I know that because I'm waiting to share the testimony. So once we get the testimony, I will definitely share. But right now, we are in the mix of it, and we're still asking for God's strength, and it will be well. Thank you so much, guys, for checking up on me. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, let's start with the nation. Keyamo, government unaware of planned power tariffs hike. Zenith Bank posts 117 billion naira profit before tax. Gunmen kill senator's son. NMA's 21-day strike notice unfair, says Ngige. and why revenue formula needs review by RAMFAC. Okay. I was going to take the RAMFAC story, but which other story do you have there?
Okay, let's talk about the NLC and electricity tariff. So the federal government and the Nigerian Labour Congress yesterday are against the go-ahead given to the DISCOs to increase electricity tariff by NEC. So according to them, they said, they've had a committee set up, a technical committee set up to review increments in electricity tariff, and they had planned that the subsidy will not be touched till December. But right now, they got a letter sent to the DISCOs. I think the letter was sent to about 11 DISCOs to increase the tariff, I think, a few days now. That is going to be happening, I think, 2nd or 3rd of September. So they are worried about it. And the Minister of State for Labour and Employment is saying that even NEC did not even, conduct with him before giving the go-ahead for that electricity tariff. And NLC is saying the people need to rise up against this tariff that is going to come. However, they mentioned, I think the Eco Distribution has said that it was what they heard or what people heard, the letter that was released to the 11 DISCOs is not substantiated. They are not planning to increase it. So till NEC gets, till the minister gets a go-ahead or receives an information from NEC, we just need to chill for a bit. All right,
so we've been trying to get RAMFAC to review the revenue formula for our public servants. So they're saying that they are definitely going to review it, and they've been trying to do this since 2001, and lots of different obstacles have caused them to delay the review. But now they're saying that there are specific 8 reasons why they must review at this time, some of which are the fact that it hasn't been reviewed in 28 years, and that the political structure has since changed since the beginning of the creation of this, and that additional states have been added, and that we definitely need to review the formula. So we're hoping that the review would consider the fact that the country is not economically strong enough to accommodate many of the excesses that we see. So we're waiting for the review, and we're happy that RAMFAC is definitely taking this review seriously this time around. Any other story in the nation? Let's move on. The Punch, 21-day notice, strike dangerous now. FG begs doctors, NMA ministry disagree. Government implements cooking gas imports tax, price jumps by 100%. ASU threatens fresh strike, gives federal government Tuesday ultimatum. BC, want to take the major headline?
Yes, so the federal government on Sunday is expressing concern about the 21-day strike by the National Association of Resident Doctors. And, they talked about, according to the Minister of Health, Osage, he was saying that this is not the right time for doctors to be going on strike. This is a time that we are almost at the 3rd wave of COVID-19, and they can actually still be having conversations while working, and they're already sorting out some of the issues that they have already. But the doctors are saying that they had a meeting in Edo State recently, and they were saying that after the 21-day strike, if nothing is done by the federal government, they are going to include even the Dental Association and some other branches also. Medical and Dental Consultants of Nigeria will be joining the medical and dental doctors in academics, and with the National Association of Resident Doctors will be joining to continue the strike. I want to appeal that if it's possible for them to, find a way, because a lot of people are not, the people who are actually bearing the brunt of this strike is the regular people who cannot access good health care. So the hospitals are full, nobody's attending to anybody, they are telling you go back and come back. If they can find a way in their hearts to continue doing this job and hope that the federal government would, negotiate and give it to them.
I also think enough of appealing to the doctors. Can we appeal to the federal government to just give a little of all that they agreed to? Just halfway. Release the funds, because there are many other places that are getting funds, and this is affecting every Nigerian. So release the funds, do your own part, and then we as people will clamor that the doctors should listen.
All right, I was going to take cooking gas. Cooking gas has escalated to about 6,500 naira for the 12.5 kg. And they're saying that this is as a result of not just because the international price of LNG has increased, but the fact that there was a 7.5% increase in the tax that the importers had to pay. So we actually import 70% of our gas, and we only produce about 30%. I was surprised, and when I saw the
thought we were extremely sufficient in this particular.
We have abundance, but we're not.
Flaring.
Yeah, we're flaring.
So 30% of it, and because of that, is increased internationally. So obviously affecting the prices here, and the 7.5% tax also is a major reason why the gas has gone up. I don't know what's going to happen.
What the solution would be.
But you know that this is, Mariah, we've been clamoring that they should remove subsidy. This is the effect of when there's nobody subsidizing, the prices will just keep going according to whatever market forces will determine. So it can be 10,000 naira next month based on market forces, and it can be 5,000 naira.
Interestingly,
but these are solvable problems locally. We have this in abundance. Can we just find ways to remove all this, whatever commitments we have around? Well, because you see, the problem for me is that we are so indebted, and our minister, our only excuse for us, Minister of Finance, every time is that, well, it's not the problem to take loan that we have, it's the problem to raise revenue. But just last week on Friday, I took a story that we use over 90% of our revenue to service debt. So how do we now grow as a nation? Every time we borrow, then we are paying, we're enslaving our people.
So there has been an appeal for the government to find a way to persuade NLNG to increase its domestic supply so that the product can become affordable. So the more they increase, we can hopefully get cheaper. But they are predicting that by December, it will move to 10,000.
Yes.
Oh, gas. I go back to our
kerosene.
Okay, is there another story you want to take in point? Most of it is probably adverts. Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. Presidency under fire, that's concerning the statement on the non-prescription of bandits. NMA threatens to join doctor strike, gives federal government 21 days to resolve issues. Flood wreaks havoc in Imo community, residents abandon homes. Nigeria only exists in a name, says Methodist bishop. Defend yourselves against attackers, Khan advises members. Gunmen kill senator's son, 4 others in Kaduna Rivers as troops rescue 3 kidnapped victims. And COVID-19, Lagos resumes administration of AstraZeneca vaccine. Okay, which story are we taking?
Major headline. So, according to Garba, he said that the president does not need to proscribe the bandits as terrorists because he has done even worse than that. He has ordered the shoot on sight of any bandit or any header within an AK-47 or any other weapon like that. And this for groups like the Afenifere and all other groups was provoking, to them sounded irresponsible. They think that with the level of destruction and damage that these people have done over the years, in whatever guise they are named, they should be proscribed as terrorists, and that's what they should be called. But the president did not agree, and through his spokesperson, he said what I quoted earlier.
Okay,
our heart goes out to, so we lost an icon, the music maestro, Sir Victor Waifor. And I think that the third son and the younger Victor Waifor wanted to clear the misinformation, because when the news broke about his death, the first thing that people were saying was that he died of COVID-19, and the third son, Godman Osareti, was saying that no, he didn't die of COVID-19, that it was pneumonia, and that he was untreated for a while, so he was rushed to the hospital on Friday, and that by Saturday he passed on. There's been goodwill messages from the governor, many governors sending their goodwill messages saying that it was a huge loss to this nation. His contribution to music was...
even the president has...
Yes, even the presidency, Uniben, many other people mourn as Victor Waifor passed on.
Like we like to say, he died of old age as well. He was over 80 and he lived well. So
so anything can kill you at that time.
You know, they don't use that phrase anymore abroad. Died of old age. There has to be a cause to kill.
No, I don't think there's no old age.
I think 1956, I think. I read
this
about
is the kind of body
they don't use that died of old age.
This is the kind of body that will throw party. Because he lived too well.
I remember his song in secondary school. If you see mommy, what it was taught in my music class. So, in Imo State, about 20 houses and business premises have been submerged by flood. Isialamba, a local government area of Imo, after following a downpour that happened on Saturday. So according to the community leader, I said the last 2 months has been very terrible for the people of Imo State, especially in that area, and they have lost properties of over 100 million. Majority of the indigenes are now relocating from that environment to the next village, and businesses are folding up. There was a particular man who owned a bakery, and he was complaining that he couldn't even revive the bakery. He has tried as much as possible to buy bags of cement, you know, costing him so much, to see how he can revamp his own area. Before he could use the cement, the next day rain had fallen and the flood had washed everything. So businesses are closing, they are relocating. But I didn't see any parts where the government, you know, said anything concerning that locality or what they are planning to do. And this is what the town planners are supposed to be doing at the moment.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on now to Vanguard. Nigeria loses $188 billion investment opportunities in 4 years. Plateau killings perpetrators will not escape justice, says Lalong. Wrongful sack. Petroleum Minister refuses to recall 11 DPR directors. I remain king, head of Yoruba Nation, says Alaafin. I've not read that page. Be more proactive, creative in security management, NGA tells government. Government kills Senator Naala's son, steel vehicle. NMA's 21-day ultimatum violation of MOU. And Papa Osho did gridlock Lagos Traffic Committee Chair Fayinka abandons enforcement. Okay, which story are we taking?
DPR. I have interest in that story.
DPR,
so,
okay.
Yes. The 11 directors of the DPR, senior director, level directors, were removed by the director, the overall director of the DPR. So they have deputy directors of other departments and the major director. So he will remove these senior officers on the instruction, according to him, of the Minister of State for Petroleum. In what he called, in the letter he wrote, he said they were disloyal and unproductive. And that was what sparked my interest in the story. So I read through, and these directors are now written to the president that, you know, their removal did not conform with the civil service rules, and they defended themselves. The president, having read it, directed the Office of Gambari to, you know,
Secretary
to the governor, to the president, to the government. So he directed, and that person, Gambari then directed the Minister of Petroleum to reinstate these people. But he said that they cannot be reinstated because they were immediately replaced by their juniors, and that removal of any of these officers conforms with the NNPC rules and not the civil service, that they are not guided by that, and that is in what we call the progressive review of the DPR for new formations. Okay. But these people are aggrieved people whose rights have been abused, and they can start an issue at the industrial courts that, you know, can get them compensation, but we like to do things out of law a lot of times. Okay, so now government might end up paying compensation to them, which we could avoid if we just follow the right process in what they are due for retirement in a few years in their letters. Yeah. Can you just allow the 6 months complete, retire them honorably, and, you know? Then let them go. So I want to take the major headline. The Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission said that Nigeria may have lost 188 billion naira, representing 92% of investment opportunities available to Nigeria. So I have to understand, apparently there are announcements of investments. We read it in the papers that they have promised to invest like 1 billion naira. They promised to invest 5 billion naira. What they are collating is that over the period of 3 years, investment announcements are made, but actual investments don't come in. The FDI that is coming in is less than 8% of the announcements made. So we are definitely getting opportunities, but we're not maximizing the opportunities because people have intention to invest in us, but the instability within our economy makes them withdraw from releasing the funds. So we have promissory notes, but not actual investments. And we are announcing and celebrating promises like we have actually gotten the funds. Yes. So in the past 4 years, out of all the promises we have celebrated, what we have gotten actually is less than 8% of the funds. And this is an indictment on
all the ministries involved, both the foreign affairs, because it's supposed to be like a foreign affair, foreign investment expected, and the minister for finance, because we are celebrating funds coming in when we don't have funds coming in, and we need the money to come in.
On that and taking money.
And taking loans, because we feel like we're having cash flow and whatnot.
Okay. So government killed the eldest son of Senator Bala Na'ala, representing KB South Senatorial District. He's a 36-year-old captain. He's a pilot, Abdul Karim Na'ala. He was found dead in his bedroom in Malali area of Kaduna Metropolis. I think it was his security guard that realized that his door was left open and then went in. They found him, said he was strangled and killed lying in his room. He was recently married, according to the story. So it said the government made away with his vehicle and some other personal belongings. The senator, who is the father, is not even in the country at the moment.
So the Alaafin of Oyo conferred chieftaincy titles on 2 people over the weekend. We have Mr. Babajide Agunbiade and obviously Honorable Shina Pella were both conferred over the weekend. And at the event, Alaafin was reminding us that he's the only king that has the power to confer anyone with the chieftaincy title. He says, I am a king and the head of the Yoruba nation. I'm the only king in Yoruba land who can confer chieftaincy title on a worthy individual, man or woman. According to him, these 2 gentlemen, Agunbiade, who is a cerebral oil and gas expert and most especially representing Nigeria gallantly abroad in the oil and gas, he's been doing very well with the community and giving back. And obviously, Shinopela obviously is also representing Oyo State, and he's also conferred with the same title. So congratulations to them. Yes. But when the king speaks, we listen. You have to listen. Okay, let's go on to the next paper right now. The Point. Raging crisis, PDP in desperate move to stop defections. Kogi procures Nigeria's first hyperbaric oxygen treatment chamber. Inheritance war, man filing brother flings brother from 2-story building in Ebonyi. 2022 budget empty to stop salaries of MDAs not on integrated payroll platform. Kiari and history of corruption among Nigeria's top police officers. Okay, which story are we taking? Okay,
the Kogi State, let's just commend the governor. He, according to them, has procured the hyperbaric oxygen treatment chamber to strengthen their health sector. This chamber helps treat a lot of ailments while providing oxygen. It includes embolism, gas embolism or air embolism, brain and sinus infections, necrotizing soft tissue infections, arterial insufficiency or low blood flow in the arteries, radiation injury, especially as a result of cancer treatment, anemia, and all of that. But this is the first of it in the country, and Kogi State helped procure it. So let's just say I'd have loved to see the machine itself in the picture story.
It was there?
No. That's a picture of it.
What it looks like?
From internet.
Oh, okay.
Not the one that they brought. And the installation of it, I'd love to see.
I know that we tend to, we sort of like, these things make the headlines, but when may we not be in that situation where you have to treat someone and you realize that the equipment to treat them is not available in
this country.
Like,
exactly.
And there are several of such things.
They say travel to clinic to go and get it. And this one, you only need this machine. It's only in Kogi State.
Yes.
This one, you need this.
Yes. We need to do better.
Traveling.
It's no longer functioning.
The second story. This one is inheritance gone bad. So 2 brothers, Emmanuel and Christian. Emmanuel had a fight with Christian because he was trying to sell properties that they inherited from their dad. And in that fight, he hit him with his brother with a rod and threw him over a 2-story building, and he fell to his death. He is presently being prosecuted for the death of his brother. They are the only 2 of them left in the country, according to eyewitness account in the story. And they inherited all their father's plenty properties in Abakaliki. But Emmanuel is in the habit of selling off the inheritance.
Yeah. So we try really hard not to get involved with political stories, for obvious reasons. But I thought it was interesting when I read a bit of it, and it seems like the PDP have zoned their party chair to the south, which could suggest that their presidential candidate for 2023 might come from the north. So that's what the paper is saying, but we don't know yet, but we keep observing, because everybody's desperate to know where each party is going and where they are zoning to. So the paper here, they're suggesting that they might be zoning their presidential candidate to the north because their chair is looking like it's coming from the south. Moving on now to Daily Trust. Okay, PDP to cede presidency to the north. Okay, I just said that. Zones Championship to South. Again, Emirates extends suspension of Nigerian flights. Buhari directs recall of 11 wrongfully retired DPR directors. Fan contractors cry out over 140 billion naira debt. Insecurity, defend yourselves, can't tell Nigerians. APC states to allocate 15% annual budget to health sector. Tokyo Paralympics, Omolayo wins Nigeria's second gold medal. Okay, which story are we taking? Want to take the
I want to celebrate.
Yeah.
Okay, want to take Omolayo.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Bose Omolayo, another Paralympian, won, in record-breaking way. She lifted 141 kg in the women's lifting, 79 kg powerlifting competition, and she won gold, along with the one that Latifa won. This lady had set a record in Brazil Olympics in 2016, and now, she decided that she wanted to break her own record, and she went further and achieved that.
And she did that.
I'm just happy, and I'm just hoping that the way we see endorsements of, let's put their faces on products. Not just other athletes. Abroad is a norm to have athletes being endorsed and, see their names on products. In Nigeria, can our major products endorse this Paralympians?
Paralympics are always doing very well.
They're always doing
very well. So we need to do more.
They place us on number 27 now instead of, the back end.
And support them as well. So the youth wing of Christian Association of Nigeria speaking and asking that Nigerians should learn to defend themselves as part of the measures to deter some of these attackers. So the national chairman, Ambassador Bello Sochukwu Enwere, said that the crisis in Plateau State and other parts of the country is enough to convince Nigerians that security agencies are not on top of their game. Right. So they need to find ways to defend themselves. He condemned all the killings, especially the ones that's been happening in Plateau State as we speak. And he's saying that the government needs to do more than play politics with the lives of people.
We have to run. Let me just take one story in the Nigerian Tribune. You have a story?
There was a quick story here. Good news. APC, a communique was signed in Abuja. Was signed in Kwara State. There was a primary healthcare delivery in APC states, and they signed that 15% of the annual budget going forward will be going into the health sector. I think it's good news, and we want to see the implementation cutting across because we're currently in a health crisis in Nigeria. Certainly.
There was a story that was caught my attention in Tribune. Customs discover pistol, fully loaded magazine.
Yeah, this happened in Tinkan Island. The customs there discovered a smuggled vehicle. It's a new one with a fully loaded pistol full of, I think, about 34 magazines loaded. And so they've called not just themselves, the police as well, and some other security agencies. Said this is something that when it happens, every other agency needs to investigate why it's happening. And they are appealing to people to avoid this sort of smuggling. So investigations are ongoing.
I hope the importer has his defense radio.
All right, we have to wrap up on this. When we come back, the conversation on brain drain. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the issue of brain drain is quite hot today. A message from Jack Obinya, a former assistant to Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, criticized Nigerian doctors who are leaving the country for other countries. According to him, he said that Nigeria will spend a fortune to train you to become a doctor. Something that you use a lifetime of loan to acquire in countries like the US, Canada, and others. And the next thing, after you train, you jackpot because there are certain conditions that aren't met. Now, what are your general thoughts on this? And we're juxtaposing that to the fact that many doctors have complained that they are unable to get properly remunerated in this country as doctors. So do you agree with this text? You can join us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948, and you can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to read your messages. Before we start the conversation, I'd like us to watch a clip from one of our reporters at TVC.
A classic example of brain drain. These doctors are abandoning a failing healthcare system in search of better opportunities as the condition in this critical sector continues to deteriorate. The organizers of this medical recruitment exercise are now trying to contain the backlash caused by an earlier TV news report on the exodus of doctors to Saudi Arabia. This time, they have prevented us from openly filming the exercise that is seen as an embarrassment to the government. At a time, resident doctors are on strike and the fragile health system is still grappling with the crippling effect of the COVID-19 pandemic.
What we are saying here is that the timing is wrong and that the numbers are not right for our country. So we'll be calling on the medical association. In fact, I had a discussion with the president yesterday, and we are also going to be talking to other experts to see how we resolve the impasse. It should not be something we do because we are on strike or we are angry.
The latest World Health Organization ranking, measuring overall health system performance for 191 countries, puts Nigeria at 187, while Saudi Arabia, seeking to recruit more Nigerian doctors, is ranked at 26. This year's federal budget for healthcare is 547 billion naira. That is about 7% of the budget's total of 13 trillion naira. This falls short of African governments' commitment in April 2001 to dedicate at least 15% of their annual budgets to the health sector in what is now known as the Abuja Declaration.
But this particular government has done much for doctors.
The federal government insists the brain drain in the health sector is unnecessary or even exaggerated, as the President Buhari administration's policies, plans and programs have specifically targeted improving healthcare delivery in the country.
I do not also, as a medical doctor, agree when people are talking about brain drain and blaming the government all the same. Are we not Nigerians? Where is the patriotism? What is the cost of training a medical doctor in the United States or in UK? We don't want to go into all those. So let us let the sleeping dog lie.
To let sleeping dogs lie may mean to do nothing to stop healthcare workers who have lost hope in the system from leaving. Last year, the Nigerian Medical Association...
I get to watch the news. Yeah. All right, so that clip obviously sets the tone for our conversation this morning. And we would definitely like to hear from Nigerians, both locally and internationally, on their views on this. Let us start from the beginning. What is brain drain? Obviously, it is the exodus of middle-class, well-skilled Nigerians who leave the country for greener pastures abroad. Now, we have some figures that it looks like, based on what we're talking about today, $2 billion have been estimated to have been spent by Nigerians to train these doctors who eventually leave the country. And even I think it's the United Nations that says that for every doctor that leaves the country, we're losing, the United Nations Commissions for Trade and Development says that for every person that leaves, every professional that leaves this country is a loss of $184,000 to Africa. So these are staggering numbers, and it's something we should talk about because there are two sides of the coin. So Nigeria spends so much money to train these doctors, and many of them, once they get the opportunity, they leave. I mean, we saw the reports on the Saudi Arabia recruitment. The other side of it is that if I stay as a doctor, yes, you've trained me, yes, I appreciate the fact that I got this education almost for free of charge. Now I stay here and I'm not able to feed, I'm not able to grow, I'm not able to get the right equipment to build my career. So how does this doctor, how would you as a person interpret what the government is saying and what the government and what the people, the doctors are saying in Nigeria? BC?
I personally want to understand what you mean by trained the doctors. Is it like they go to school for free? They don't pay school fees.
So let me establish that.
No, I get it. No, I just want to build the premise. Yes, I get it. I know that their fees are really subsidized compared to what they would have paid if they travel outside to study. But is that not supposed to be like a perks of people living in a state that has oil? There are certain perks you get when you stay in an oil-rich state. So the government could have chosen to subsidize education, which is what we get, because of the fact that we are in a country where we have some natural resources as a way of supporting the people. If you want to take that away, you can have that conversation and begin to take that away. But are you subsidizing that education so that when they come out, they will now subsidize their lives on mega salaries? It is not the job of the doctors to, make systems work. it is not their job. You have subsidized, but you need to go further than just subsidizing education. You need to give them the equipment. You need to give them a proper system. You need to ensure that you pay them so that they can enjoy the work that they have been called to do. So if you subsidize their education and then you put them in environments where they can't function, where you don't get that optimal value that they have gotten from the schools, and you want them to stay, why you, who is the government, you don't even stay to get your own medical health care? You travel to the greener, so you are blaming people for going for greener pastures, but you go for greener health. We need to place these things.
All right. Okay, let me
I just feel...
before we come back to you.
So there are two issues on ground here. Brain drain, major problem. It goes beyond the healthcare sector. There is what is the Canada? What Canada? The only thing Canada symbolizes to people is taking the best of your country to their own space. That's all. Not just the best. They take the best of Nigerians who have the money to fund their new life there. Like, you must show proof of funds. So brain drain is one whole issue that requires, sincerity in the heart of our leaders to deal with. And I don't see sincerity at all in the heart of our leaders to deal with the issues of brain drain. Any country that does not prioritize skills, that does not prioritize excellence, that does not give you opportunity to excel with your skill without any connection, people that are skilled will leave the place. Because in America, in Canada, in all those countries, I don't need to know anybody to succeed. I just need to know my work well. So the essence of brain drain is, as long as we have nepotism, as long as we have favoritism, as long as you need to know somebody to excel in life, people will move from such society to other societies where no connection is required to excel.
Their work will speak for them.
So there was something medical, and I've said this several years ago, that Nigeria, the reports came out years back that Nigeria is one of the cheapest places in the world to become a doctor. And that when we provide such education, there must be conditions, because it costs Nigerian government money to provide education for these people. And so you must find a way to ensure that you are maximizing the deposits you've made into the lives of your citizens. The country knows that your biggest potential, like your biggest opportunity, are your people. So if you have not trained the people to become doctors and you now watch them move, and the minister could say that you can't stop people from moving, and that person still remained a minister. I'm wondering, in all shades, it is wrong, Morayo.
What's most painful, like the doctors we celebrate abroad, many of them did their first degree, they did their medical school here.
Yes.
So it wasn't as if they were born and raised in America and become doctors. Many of them actually had their foundations here.
Back to back. I mentioned 2 times, I went to do my teeth. I went to the dentist that filled my teeth. That was good. When I went for the next appointment, he had gone. The second one that I met the second time too had gone. The rate at which doctors are migrating out of Nigeria should be worrisome for every human being residing here. Because we already have a deficit of doctors, and then we now have more people going away. Then to now the effrontery of an organization to come here and organize a recruitment process, it should be illegal.
They leverage on the system.
Okay, wait, let's look at the other side. Because, Nima, I'll come to you now. Abroad, it's not cheap to get a health education.
Every education.
It's not. To become a doctor, I know I have families, about 4 or 5 of them, who are doctors, and I know how they pay through their nose. So it's not cheap. So the point is that if we look at it, the fact that it's not cheap to be a doctor abroad, don't you think it is unpatriotic for Nigerians to spend almost similarly for you? The government is the one paying that, right now they're asking you for kobo. You are the one I get the part that there's no infrastructure. I get the part that they've not made, there's not enabling environment. But do you think it's right for us to just up and go because, hey, I can go?
Yes, no.
Okay, so this is the problem for me. It is unpatriotic of doctors to leave. But it's even more life-threatening to have them work in the situations that we put them. I know my doctors are overworked. Every time I see them, I fear for their life. In fact, a young doctor who was able to get his housemanship, his residency in the hospital when I gave birth, he's still there struggling and he wants to stay. When we talk, and at this point I'm telling you, you will not go and join the people that have gone because they are doing well. So it is wrong for our government, just like BC said, to offer the availability of a skill and then not offer the enabling environment for the people to work.
Balance it.
Go to our hospitals. Even the states that we say they are the best, the population per facility, it is totally imbalanced. It cannot even be compared. We are building a mass a resource of, or what will I call it, a bank of educated, skilled doctors, but we don't have proper hospitals working. People will graduate to get their housemanship, internship positions, and I'm not talking about doctors alone, no, lab attendants, all of them. You have to lobby for the jobs, for the good jobs. I know resident doctors who are managing some Egbele hospitals. I knew one who would do morning here, afternoon here, night here. He lived in the hospital till he married. You know, people age on this. And then if you are tired of being patriotic, and government then comes and says this, the government themselves, just as BC said again, let me just echo her, do not show willingness to do things, to make things work. They have the alternative of going abroad. They still do it. The president just came back from abroad. As long as that alternative is there, we're not serious.
Thank you.
Nigerians continue to be the audacity of Saudi to come here without even giving people visa. Give them visiting visa so they can come and take their test in your country like you used to do. But now, they are recruiting across major cities. Across major cities in Nigeria. And we have to
let me go on a break. When we come back, because I know that there are other countries where even though you travel abroad as a doctor, you still owe them back home. So can't there be a system so that even if we train you and you leave, you are obligated to pay something? Because the truth is that
we're dealing with the wrong thing. It's not the fault of the doctor.
Okay, let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we'll still continue this conversation. We'll be bringing our guests in a moment. But there is that angle of there are other countries like Trinidad and Tobago where you are forced to stay 4 to 5 years after you've been trained by the country before you can go anywhere. These are bonds they put on these highly skilled professions. So others are saying that even if we cannot do anything about this brain drain, because you can't stop anybody from leaving, but can we have it such that those who are finally gone are somewhat obligated to come back to either come and retrain? Because the doctors, some of us are saying today, are those who returned, though, either in the 80s or in the 90s. So if they hadn't come back, maybe we wouldn't have had these kind of doctors. So there's got to be something, some kind of system that we put in place where that even though you go, at least have a 10, 15, 20 player to come back, and those who have been there for 20 years should be able to put something in place in Nigeria.
Yes, so, you know, we're in a country where we like to put the cart before the horse. And some doctors will agree, will tell you that nobody trained me, I paid my school fees. So I don't understand when you say the government trained us, I paid my fees. That's it.
In Nigeria?
But we know, yes, but we know they pay school fees now.
Of course, everybody pays. I'm talking about the kind of
the NEPA bill we pay, the light bills we pay, is it commensurate to the lights that we do? Everywhere is subsidized in the country. So if you want to beef up yourself, beef up yourself. It's not me that will tell you what to do. So, but I know that quality education is very expensive. You have upgrading the facility. So for solution's sake, you can say, now we have realized that we invest in your education and then you run away and leave us. Let us upgrade the facilities. Let us make sure that everything you need is there. And then we come back to the schools and say, okay, the amount you are paying to study as a doctor is too small. You have to up that amount of money. And if you need loans from the government, we can give you loans and you have prepayment plans on how you pay for almost the rest of your life like they do outside the country. But first, the facilities must have been dealt with. The problems of poor and failing healthcare must have been tackled before you now move the pricing to the schools. So if we're sincere, if the government is sincere about solving this problem of, the truth is, I don't see people who just wake up and say they want to leave the country. Sometimes it's as a result of no choice. They don't have a choice. They want to start afresh. They just want something that will give them hope. They don't have it here. Most people that I see want to stay in this country. So give them that enabling environment. Make sure that the healthcare, because what we're doing is penny wise, pound foolish. We don't want to invest in our healthcare. The government will take the money and go and pay for healthcare, you know, for their own medical, their children, immediate family. They don't know that that money they are paying there is the money that the government is using to pay the Nigerian doctors that go there.
because they are well paid.
So
we're cheating ourselves at the end of the day.
To answer your question, Morayo, number one, it is not illegal, and it is not it's not illegal for a doctor trained by Nigeria or trained within Nigeria to travel for greener pastures. It is human nature to be selfish. Like, human beings are wired to take care of, like, we must take care of ourselves. And we've seen even in developed countries that whenever there's a breakdown of law and order, they go crazy. Same way we go crazy here. So the human beings are the same everywhere. It is the institution, the government, that makes things work there, that has refused to make things work here. So the government has made things work for people in diaspora and has attracted talents and skills to themselves. Our government has not been able to make things work here. And so the human beings who are looking at working 24, you see one, like a group of 4 doctors or 3 doctors doing antenatal for hundreds of pregnant women. It's unheard of. It's inhuman. Now, and they are doing that and they don't even have a proper Doppler. They are trying to use funnel. That's how I went for antenatal. And somebody was telling me, I had to tell the woman, I said, I have twins. Like, do you know? Because what you are doing, you heard heartbeats, you can only have heard one. You know, because, but the woman, at the time, she had already seen like 15 people back to back. She's tired. So it is human nature to want to take care of ourselves. Yes. What I believe the government should be doing, which is what they should have done, is being proactive. At this stage as a country, after 60 years of doing this over and over again, we should have learned to do this thing better. We cannot have selfish citizens and selfish government. Our government is being selfish and it is wrong.
Yeah, Nima, let me let you say a second point if I bring my guest.
Okay, so I just wanted to share a personal experience with a doctor that we had a conversation. And he said that I stayed back in the country because I love this country. But the truth is, they don't have anything. I once had an accident where they almost cut off my toe. And I was being treated, and I was saying, no, everything. He said, Nima, when I trained in Taraba for my housemanship, we will use any water and spirit, and you will be well. So calm down. Stop getting paranoid. In this country, I have never practiced medicine the way I practice it when I go consult abroad. That the facility know they will treat people and they survive in the rural areas. Keep quiet. So imagine that that has become our reality, and we are forced to accept it. Our leaders are saying to us, accept it, but we can't. We have the alternative of a private jet and medical facility.
Let me take our guess, because I said I am in this circle, but I choose to refrain from speaking at this time, because that time when I'm going to speak, that time will come. But let me take our guest. He is the National Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Oshikoya Oludotum. He'll be joining us right now. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning.
Yes, I wanted you to listen into our conversation a bit to understand where our perspectives were. So brain drain, obviously, is a critical issue right now. Many doctors are leaving, and we find it quite disturbing, because when the government is saying they spend so much on people like you to get educated, and your colleagues have left the country, what are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with the government, or do you think there's something we can do to meet each other halfway?
Thank you very much for even having me this morning. Where will I start from? You know, we have been on blogger with the government for, in fact, today makes it 4 weeks. I'm just using as an example, because I don't want to dwell in that. And government are not being sincere with all their promises. Fine. Some of the government own tertiary institution, medical training was subsidized. But mind you, we have some private too that they are highly expensive, and people pay hard for it in this country too. Now, how will you feel? Let me use the private for example. How will you feel if I pay like 3 million naira annually or per session to study medicine in a private institution, and you now get a job in this country, or you find it hard to even get an employment as an house job in any of our tertiary institutions, or even when you now get the job, they give you a casual job, locum, that you'll be renewing or something every month after paying huge amount of money to train yourself in private institution. Even in government, we still pay some amount. And at the same time, you now get a job, and they're not casualize it for you. You renew it every month. It happens in this country, like we're talking. And why they casualize it, they call you locum doctor. You are working, putting all your best, and at the end of the month, they didn't pay your salary. Because we have had that kind of a thing among some of our guys, 4 to 8 months. In fact, that's in federal. When you are talking of our members in the states that have been owed 19 months' salary, how will you feel after stressing yourself through the medical school, the rigorous work in the hospital, day in, day out? At the end of the day, you are not being paid. And somebody now come from somewhere else, okay, let me give you an opportunity where you and your family will be taken care of, and they will pay you very well, and you have the equipment to work, enable environment to work. Do you think that person will stay? The person will definitely.
Okay,
So
let me see.
You have said what we all need to be discussing here. Whether they need to leave is not the issue. Whether they need to pay back something could be the issue. So let's make sure that those going to school have educational loans on which they go to school. So even if they do have to leave because we are not providing the hospitals they need to work in, they will be able to pay us something back. I have it on records. I know someone in Saudi who is paid on 2.something million naira monthly salary. Hey. And they build hospitals that are world-class, that will swallow Aso Rock Hospital. So what are we saying? Should we force that person to stay here or say, okay, now that you have gone, we've trained you here, pay us something back, even if it's 20%.
So that's some kind of framework we need to put in place for this.
Framework.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for calling. We have a call from Germany. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
My name is Esther.
Yes.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yes.
So, see, this topic is I'm so passionate about it because I'm a nurse in Germany and I actually do some recruitment for nurses to come to Germany. Yes, I'm a corporate, but I have to say my mind on this matter. I say my mind. So the issues, I feel like the issues we are having, that's a Nigerian problem. It's actually kind of a bigger problem where people tend to give little finances into healthcare, even to their own healthcare. So they kind of transport that even into the government. And the issues we are having in Nigeria, it's not just about the pay. It's not just the pay. I get paid well here, thank God. But it's not just the pay. Have you asked anybody living outside the country how much is their rent, how much they are paying for taxes and all of that? It's not just the money. Security is an issue. I have a nurse, I know a nurse personally, who during the COVID-19 pandemic was attacked with a cutlass and was cut up and down. I don't have words for it. Why? Because he was going for night duty. In that kind of situation, who wants to work? Who? There is no health insurance, no proper health insurance. Quackery is a huge issue. Unemployment, you're saying that you don't want your health workers to go out, but you will not still employ them. You will still not pay them. Okay, so one of us also mentioned that there should be something that obligates us to come back. We don't need an obligation to come back. Nigeria is our home. We will always want to come back. We will always want to give back to home. Our whole family, most of us, everything that concerns us lives in Nigeria. So why wouldn't we want to come back? But if you keep making the environment unconducive for someone to even be alive to work, why would we want to come back? Why?
Thank you very much, Esther. Let me come back to Dr. Oshikoya. Dr. Oshikoya, so in the papers today, are you still there, sir?
I'm here with you.
So in the papers today, we read that the APC states want to allocate 15% of their annual budget to healthcare. Do you think that would encourage people to stay and believe that the government will do something concerning healthcare in Nigeria?
My dear, that one you just hear that one on paper. That's the problem. One of the problems we're having in this country. Promises. They will promise you this and they won't fulfill it. They will promise you everything and they won't do it. Now they said it because they are trying to find a solution to the problem we're having now. But what we want from them is sincerity. Let them be sincere with us for once. Let them implement it, not just say it by the paper. and for the press to hear and for the masses to hear because election is coming around the corner. And they will just go and drop it in one place. Then another election will now become. They started saying it all over again. Not that every doctors in Nigeria want to travel out. But when you are not giving me an enabling environment to maximize all my potentials, it's wrong. Even if I borrow money to pay for huge medical training, if I started working, how will I pay back when you are not paying me? How would I do things when you are not doing the need?
But doctor,
people go to Canada, they will be that.
Let me ask you about the fact that Saudi Arabia has an agency affiliated to the country that is recruiting here. Do you think that it is? I know that it is selfish. Everybody wants to sort themselves out, but is it right for another sovereign country to come into another country to be recruiting doctors for themselves?
I don't think it's illegal.
Well, to me, people have every right and freedom to travel. Though for another country to come and poach on their best stand, to me, to some extent, ethically it might be wrong. But at the same time, it's because we are the recent doctors are on strike currently that people started looking at it from that angle. Do you know that they have been coming to this country for years? Yes. So this one particular one is not the first time. They have been coming and nobody is talking. But when the welfare of our members is being affected and we embark on strike, that will now make it more pronounced. Somebody that didn't want to travel before. But when you now see an opportunity that government is not sincere with you, they are owing you salary, 19 months, and I see another opportunity, let me just go. And that won't make it more pronounced this time around.
All right. Dr. Shukamaya, I would like to know what exactly the doctors will see that would tell them that government is serious about, responding to our needs. What exactly will you see? What are some of the steps that you expect the government to put in place that will make you be rest assured that you can operate in Nigeria?
You see, there's a lot of things. If I started talking. Now, for example, it's not all about salary aspects, but is still part of it. The welfare, insurance is there. For example, we lost 19 of our members to COVID-19. Death in service insurance was not even paid to their families since last year, despite the fact that government said they have started paying. Insurance for your doctors, good remuneration for all health workers. As I'm talking to you now, hazard allowance in Nigeria is still 5,000 naira, where some honorables are collecting like 2.something million as sitting allowance or whatever allowance they are giving themselves. See, you need to encourage your workers. You need to make them, you call us essential service worker, or you are not taking care of us, and you want us to continue to work under dilapidated situation.
All right. Let me take this call. I'll come back to you, sir. Let me take this call. We've been holding. Hassan, are you there from Lekki?
I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
This is a very, very crucial issue. And it's of two ways. The government first and the doctors themselves. Look, the issue of salary, the issue of welfare of the doctors, it's not only to doctors, across board, must be paramount to any responsible government in this country. But that one, we left it at the back seat. Look at the value of the money today. Can the money put food on the table of any worker? Not even doctors. When you look at the value, people are not really well remunerated across board. And you expect people to stay? No. But secondly, we have doctors here that are doing PP. Even while in government, they are doing PP, which is against the civil service rules or public service rules. We know that one. The most important thing is for us to look at the whole economy, put it in order, equip the hospital, and let all of us be patriotic. Look at the country on its terms and solve the problem of the country. It's not only limited to doctors. Everybody. Today, the salary cannot put food on the table for anybody. And we are expecting not to have this industrial crisis.
Right.
We have to.
All right. So I want us to have a solution. I don't want us to just continue to lament. We understand the problems. But as we said earlier, we cannot stop these guys from going, right? So many doctors, we have about 5,000 in some countries, another 3,000 in another country. So there was a doctor that reached out to me from California that wanted to come to Nigeria to do some partnership with Luth concerning cancer. So our suggestion, therefore, could be, instead of individual doctors trying to come home and see what they can do, why can't they form a consortium? Let's have a group of Nigerian or doctors across the world, wherever they are. They come together. They have that critical mass of expertise, critical mass of resources that they can tap into, and then begin to support some way, maybe work with the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, whatever it is, to do something more structured in Nigeria. Because it's one thing, there's one thing to be abroad, but all these individual efforts is not going to be very impactful.
Nigerians abroad already do. In fact, last year I nominated 2 people and sent them to the Modern Child Care Hospital in Amodofi, where they did a mammotomy for them for free for a period of time. I think 3 mammotomies per month. And it was for every woman, any woman from any level, just approach the hospital and register.
Nima, pause.
It was a team of Nigerian doctors partnering.
I hear you, but what I'm saying, it's not, I don't want that. That's the problem, because it's not these 2, 3, 4, 5 come together. I'm saying that if we have, just imagine we have 1,000 doctors, right? Okay. And they have an organization, right? And they have this, they don't build a radiology center. They build a huge general practice. I mean, some international standard.
So, Marion, it still falls back on the system, because we've had cases where people bring their money, that they want to build hospitals, and they will need to bribe officials within the government to let them do what they want to do. So there must be an enabling environment for things to work. I would say for a fact that most of my real estate business comes from diaspora, and about 50% of my clients are medical workers in the abroad. So they have their hearts here. They want to work here. They want to invest here. Number one is security, like Esther mentioned from Germany, that people are worried about, oh, what will happen to me when, if I come here, would I be attacked or something? That's one. Number two, there must be the willingness of the government to provide a structure. So it's not going to be them that will organize it. It will be government that will organize a system with which we will be able to maximize this potential that we have in human form abroad.
Abroad, exactly.
Fantastic topic. Yes. Yeah, I would like to say that, let me even start with this analogy. So if you earn your salary, which is 100%, what you put 7% into, does it make sense when you weigh it in the scale of things? Do you see the impact of 7%? Maybe let's say you put 7% in, is it meat now or something? Do you see the impact as against 100% in your home as an individual? And now we have a government that decides to put 7% in healthcare. Does that tell you that that government is serious? Let's start from the basics. We can't solve the problem from the top. We have an issue where our government is not serious about giving us proper health care. When people outside the country see what the government is doing, and the government is saying, we need more funds to do this. This is what we're putting in, but it's not enough based on the population that we have. People, Nigerians outside, will genuinely understand that the government is serious and want to support. But when you see money used to buy things that are not needed by the politicians, and then you're saying you don't have enough money for health care, come on now.
Okay, we have to go on a break. We're going to have a wrap up on this. When we come back, we're going to take some more calls, and stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We have a call from the UK. Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to quickly contribute to what you guys are saying about the doctors in Nigeria. You see, I think the main problem is about Nigerian government. Let me give you a scenario. A doctor here in UK, which I'm very close to, actually, he has a GP, and he actually come to a conclusion that he wants to relocate the bank to Nigeria to start up a hospital business there. But do you know what happened? He sold his GP here in UK. He sold it and took all that money took all that money and with all the other savings he had, and went back to Nigeria to start up a business, hospital business there. My sister, today as I'm talking to you now, less than 2 years, that same doctor that has his own GP here in UK with staff and everything, he came back NCR with black bag, not a traveling bag, with black bag. He came back with nothing. He ended up losing all that money back home in Nigeria. He was frustrated. Fine, when he got to Nigeria, he got the building, everything. He got some loan from bank and everything. But at the end of the day, that guy was frustrated, and he came back here empty-handed. The most painful part of it is that the GP that he sold here, that he was the owner of that GP, he now had to go back there to get an employment as a worker there. So that is a lot of people want to come back to Nigeria, like what Esther said.
All right. Thank you, Christopher. You see, as I said, we've dwelled quite a bit on the problem. Let us start looking at solutions. Let me talk to Dr. Oshikoya. Dr. Oshikoya, you've heard everything everybody is saying. Do you see any possible solutions in sight? What do you think we can begin to do? I mean, I talked earlier about having that group of Nigerian doctors coming together abroad to support those of you in Nigeria. Or what else can we do to support or to ensure that we get proper health care? What do you think? What would you suggest, Dr. Oshikoya?
Thank you very much. The first thing, everything in Nigeria is out of pocket. People who come to your hospital, they pay out of pocket, assuming there is NHIS covering for everything. That's why we said that there is a policy from the government parties, zero. There's no sincerity. Because when somebody came all the way from abroad, wants to come and set up a business, hospital business here, you use bureaucracy bottleneck to hinder them. Now, for example, I came into hospital, I'm just analog now, I built a very big or giant hospital, and people will come and pay out of the pocket, and they'll beg you, doctor, I don't have this. Are you going to recoup all your money that you used to buy equipment to purchase this and that? No. But eventually, if there is NHIS system that is working perfectly in this country, at least maybe most hospitals, most private people that are coming to establish in this place will be able to try better. But we are not having that. Everything in this country is from out of pocket. And how many people can afford to go to private institution? Now, when you are not talking to, people go to government. Even at that government is starving their staff, their workers. Not paying them regularly, not giving them their allowance regularly. Right. So people will not go. Do you know how many people that have come to government hospital and they are unable to pay? But one of the ways you can solve the problem is by introducing NHIS.
Okay.
Let that be coverage for everybody.
Right. That's critical. Thank you very much. That's another very important point. Insurance, where everybody knows that you have access to healthcare as long as you have the NHIS. But we must be fair, because I have been in the health circles in recent times, as I told you, and we do have some equipment. It's just that it's not enough. But because I know that, for example, for cancer, for example, and I know there's a partnership in Louth. There's a private-public partnership where they have an established hospital within Louth. I also know that in OAU, they have, they focus a bit, I think, on more of, I can't remember what the focus is on. But the point is that radiology, urology, and all that. The point is that the government is making efforts somewhat. It's not enough, or there's comparison to the population we're dealing with. So we need some quick fixes. And those quick fixes, there's the big teaching hospitals can have certain equipment, but it's the quick fixes that we're looking for. And NHIS is definitely one of it.
Is one. But the very first one is the medical workers themselves, I'm not talking doctors alone, to stop the psychophancy. When they need to go investigate a hospital, you then bring out the things that you don't have. You don't show them the real picture. Government officials will live there and say, we visited the hospital. They have machines. They have everything. Everything is working. For Kogi State, for instance, that they have that one machine. Can somebody show them the real picture of if there's a queue of 23 people or 100 people, how fast that machine, what will happen if those 100 people cannot access the machine within the number of days? It's not about just having one. Or even folding it and covering it up until government officials know that one.
Damilare has been holding a lot. Let me get Damilare's call. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Yes.
I I've been listening keenly with the conversation. But let me quickly add that when we are talking about brain drain, it is multifaceted. It is not only health sector now. It is all areas of the country. But it is more pronounced with the health sector. And not only the medical doctors now. Even the lab scientists, the nurses, they are moving in large numbers. We need to look into that. If we should be taking statistics, we will see that other professional teams are leaving this country every day. And to talk about the problem and the solution, it is so unfortunate that our government is insincere. If they are sincere, they know what to do. They know this problem. You can imagine a government institution whereby you refer a patient from a federal government institution to a private institution. So what are we now talking? Is that how things are supposed to be? And
Thank you, Damilare. I have to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take more calls and read more messages. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Yeah, stories. Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to take messages at Nima. Let's take all from YouTube. Yeah.
Oyedele says, in America, if a state trains you by subsidizing your education, you must stay in that state and pay taxes for at least 10 years before you can leave. Joke Balogu says, our leaders' children studied abroad and are working abroad. Have you put any system in place to stop our leaders traveling abroad for medical care? Ola Didi says, do government subsidize doctors trained in private universities? I don't get it. They're insisting that it's more expensive in Nigeria still.
Daisy O says, government needs to be humble and provide for their citizens and leave this thing of pride and big spending lifestyle. Government, please treat your citizens right. Kelly Ola says, if you can create a good environment and even pay doctors peanuts regularly, and doctors won't leave the country. It's not about the money, but the money is also important. Ebezilat says, Nigerian government is bad, but many will japa and come back, chop government position temporary as side hustle, while their families still stay abroad. When they finish the Nigerian government side hustle appointment, then they go back.
Let me come to our guest. He's still on. Dr. Shikoya, so you told us earlier that NHIS is one option to keep doctors. What a partnership with other doctors abroad. As I said, many Nigerians who moved on in the 90s and 80s have built hospitals here. Some of them are still moving home till today. And they're working in Luther, working in teaching hospitals as consultants. So are there any plans for resident doctors to begin to have some kind of partnerships abroad such that you can have the support you require from private people?
Yeah, when you are comparing 80s to 2020, which year we had 21, the difference is far. Then in the 80s, how much is Naira to dollars then? How is the situation on the ground then in the 80s? Now, look at now. There is insincerity on the part of government currently, presently now. You want people to come and partner with you in Nigeria where there is a lot of bureaucracy bottleneck, or where people, you build an hospital and you end up doing like a charity to the people because they are unable to pay the fee. Government is not even ready to subsidize anything. So the partnership might not work. It might not work.
Interesting.
So how do you expect it to work?
Let me take this call from Abuja. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning. I'm here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
My view is that Nigeria, this thing called birth train is what the government is doing. The government needs to make things work. Have a good environment. Most doctors are not employed in Nigeria. We have doctors that are doing local. Do you know what they earn by doing local? Doctors that are abroad are earning times 10 of what we in Nigerians are earning. For you to even get a job as a doctor is a problem. I worked in Abuja before leaving for my residency training. I couldn't get a placement for residency training in Abuja. My family is in Abuja. I have to spend almost 100,000 naira every month on transportation just to see them 1 weekend a month. Just for being a doctor. Nigerians didn't train me. I trained abroad. Nigerians didn't train me. So why would you now tell me, what has Nigeria done for me that you want me to still stay in this country and be drained? And finally, I couldn't get a job in Abuja. I have to go for residence. Now going for residence, if they don't receive me, anything for 1 weekend in a month to see my family, that is that month I'm not going to see my family. And I still have to spend, I have to fly, I have to transport myself to where I will take to Abuja. Then come to Abuja just to see my family once a month. Passing part 1, I went to the hospitals in Nigeria, in Abuja, to get a placement for register. They said they don't need senior registrars. That means they don't need doctors. And you don't want these doctors to leave the country. Are you going to be feeding them? Do you know how much school fees cost in Nigeria? To go to a good school, a standard primary school in Abuja, you have to spend about 500,000 naira. And how much are we earning? If we now have a doctors, both of them.
All right, so thank you, Hafsat, for taking us there, because we're talking about ripple effect, but there's a word that our guest has been using, insincerity of government, which I get. But isn't there also an insincerity in the part of Nigerians? Because we're saying the doctors are paid high abroad. It's not as if the money is falling from heaven. They are taxing their people. These doctors who have been sorry are paying back. So if you that had graduated and become a doctor, you don't pay back. The government may not have money to pay those and give them student loans that are coming behind you. So it is that ripple effect, that sincerity on all parts. So the doctors are being paid abroad are getting, they are being paid from the money from taxes and the student loans are being paid back. What are we doing here? So we want the government to pay your doctors. Where would they get the money from? That's the question.
Can we talk about the grass suffering right now? Because, you know, when two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that is suffering. So in between the doctors on strike and the government going to get court injunction, get back to work, we are doing this. We have people dying on a daily basis. Patients dying on the people that cannot access healthcare, cannot afford to get healthcare in private hospitals. People that consultants cannot see to them who are dying. Who is worried about such people? Who is speaking for them? Because I feel very, very bad when you create a chronology of the numbers of strike that has happened under our current minister, Dr. Chris Ngige, across multiple sectors. It is worrisome. And I'm wondering, what does the president use to measure his performance? Because, like, what's the KPI for Dr. Chris Ngige? How do you measure his performance if there's so much strike back-to-back going on across and bickering across many sectors? So even if I'm not dealing with the Minister for Health.
Well.
Yes,
so
Minister for Health as well.
Solutions would be to put our priorities in order. We cannot give hazard allowance of 5,000 naira in a pandemic.
Like, who does that?
Doctors. Please, you know, I will give wardrobe allowance that we will not fail to pay, or give sitting allowance that is extremely disproportionate to the kind of work they do. We cannot. We should arrange it on other priorities. Which one is extremely important to us before we have our soldiers brain drain?
Yes, so.
It's possible.
They're prepping already. I've already started hearing.
We're not even appreciating our soldiers enough. And we're not even investigating the level of corruption within the army.
Okay, so, you know, as a moderator, I have to also look at all sides of this, of the coin. So I hear that we are not paying appropriately as we should. But this is the same people that, if they want to increase taxes, we scream. The America that we all run to, they pay through their nose. No.
It's the America that we see, that we're talking about.
They pay through their nose on taxes across board. But here, they ask you for taxes to pay, and we all call. What's that name again? NLC will come out and say, no, we cannot pay. Ordinary NLNG.
I bought Gary on Sunday, just yesterday, 1,500 naira for a paint bucket of Gary Jebu. I bought it just 2 years ago for 700, 800 naira for a paint bucket. Is it the same salary that has not been increased that you are tasking? If you tax me, and the tax is to build me hospitals that I can access. But now I have to go and do health insurance, the most affordable one for my family by myself. Please now, if you're tasking me, let me see what the tax is going into. Let there be the facility available.
What of the part of what of the part of where that we have a huge bracket of Nigerians who are not paying taxes? At least we are working. So there's a huge money that we're losing. So imagine,
even in Lagos,
like, I think it's about 10%. So if we have that figure, one second, I'll come to you. Imagine 50% of these 200 million Nigerians who are working are paying taxes. Where will they go? Then you pay your doctors properly. Then you'll be able to improve.
Whose job is it to capture the people who are not paying taxes? Is it my job? Is it my job? Everybody should do their job. That's where the problem is. And the comparison now of, you see the lawmakers, you see the executives who did not even spend this amount of a number of years in school to get this qualification are the ones earning more, and you who have spent sleepless nights, number of years, pay through your nose to go through school to save lives. So it's not like you're working for your pocket. You want to save the lives of people. You're not earning anything close. That is where the comparison is.
Let me quickly just answer on the tax that the big people so-called that we think are captured are the ones who escape taxes the most.
Who are owing us?
Who are the business owners getting the waivers?
Buying champagne.
Yeah. Please now.
Let me take out, Dr. Oshiko, you are there with you. I want you to hear the back and forth so you know how to respond to the ladies' thoughts on this. So what do you make of what we're saying right now?
I can hear you. People are talking of taxes to pay doctors and everything. If I hear you correctly.
Yes.
But let me give you another scenario. I know of some state government that are paying half salary to their doctors, and they are removing full taxes across board from all health workers. You are paying half salary compared to other states, and you are still removing full tax from them. What's going to happen to those doctors? And because of that, they are paying half salary, and they are still owing between 6 to 10 months of salary. And you are collecting your full tax from the half salary you are paying because you thought there is no money in circulation. And if all those doctors in that particular state decide to go to Saudi Arabia or UK, say they are not patriotic enough, or they are not taking. So you can look at it from that angle. Government is not being sincere. Look at all our hospital where you're supposed to see 600 doctors to be working, you only see 50 working. And you're not paying them half salary. At the same time, remove full tax. There's nothing stopping government to encourage doctors that, okay, I'm going to exempt you from paying taxes over so time because I'm paying half salary. But they are not doing that. They remove full tax from their half salary they are paying them. And at the same time, I want the doctors to be working. And those doctors who go to the market, are they going to go and tell the woman selling rice, okay, give me rice, government is yet to pay me, I'll pay you when they pay me my money, or I go to filling station, or to say, okay, you pay me later, I'll come and pay back later. It's wrong. That's injustice, that victimization.
Let me take a caller. Good morning, are you there? Hello?
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, the problem, we are looking for a solution in this country. We don't have the money. The budget is very small. America is 320 million people. Their budget is $1.3 trillion. Multiply it by 500. That is about 700 trillion naira. And Nigeria, we are 200 million people with a budget of 13 trillion. Where do you think what we can do with that? We cannot solve our problem until we increase our budget. We're supposed to be operating at a level of about 50 trillion naira for Nigerians to see the impact. With 13 trillion, that is about $26 billion. It's not going to solve our problem. So that is the issue, and no other thing. So we have to look inwards and find a way to generate money so that our budget can be increased to up to 50 to 100 trillion. That's the only way we can.
Let me stay on wheel for Dolphus. So you're saying that we need more budget, but we're also saying that a huge part of Nigerians are not paying taxes because everywhere around the world, people get money from taxes. So all of us who are working, I think I don't have the figures right now. There's a huge bracket of Nigerians who are working both formally and informal that are not paying taxes. So where is government going to get the money from?
Capture them.
So we're asking everybody to do BVN, it is wahala. Money. Do NIM, it is wahala. So the idea is that how do we capture Nigerians and ensure that they pay taxes? We want to do what they're saying in this country.
Almost 70% successful already. So what are they doing with the data?
Go ahead, engineer. Go ahead, Dolphus, I can hear you. Okay, I think we lost that. Yes, Nima, say something.
I said the NIN is almost 70% successful based on all the indices that the Minister for Communication has been talking about. So what exactly are they doing with the data that they have? What are they projecting? Okay, now we've captured everybody, but then we are still giving waiver and tax moratorium to some businesses or some big men that are politically connected. We are not serious. The people that are making the monies that we are seeing like this, they are being waived.
That the tax will be when it enters
there's a projection of based on somebody's private business in this country that they have been using to plan for the past 4 years. One person's private business, they have been using it to plan since. The person is enjoying all the tax waivers. And they are just planning, 4 years ago, it has not come to fruition.
So I think Adolfo has really, really hit the nail on the head. We need money. No matter how much you look at it, the budget of our country has to increase. And we need to first of all start from top end. It's easy to tax those on the ground bottom, but those rich folks who are making the money, those billionaires, those who are bringing in champagne, as much as you think that champagne is insignificant, trust me, it's huge. And they're bringing in and
the honesty in how we are appropriating the funds. So the doctors will complain about the hypocrisy because they see that even when the funds land, what are we prioritizing? Yes. So there must be honesty and transparency in how we prioritize our expenditure, because that is when people will be willing to take that 100,000 naira salary, because we can see that even our president has cut. He's no longer traveling abroad as long as they have him.
Okay, we have to wrap up very soon. So I'd like to thank Dr. Shikaya for joining us. Any final words on this, because we're running out of time, Dr. Shikaya, before we run off?
Well, I believe this is the best. I mean, I'm happy with the program we're doing. I find it's the best time for the masses and for the people of Nigeria to speak out, so that government should be sincere for once, so that they can change the whole narration in the health sector, and they can put a stop to this brain drain for once and for all. Not the usual of this putting everything in paper, making promises here and there that they won't know to themselves that they can't fulfill. It's better for us to know that, okay, we take care of this health sector and everyone know what we are doing. Or they can just privatize all the government's hospital in Nigeria and let us know that it's private totally and government is not handling the health sector. If that's what they have to do, they need to show us the policy so that we know what we are doing. Sincerity is the word there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shikaya. It was a pleasure having you on the show this morning. Let me take our final caller from Austria, I believe. Ooh, I think I lost that call. Hello, are you there? Okay, we lost the call. Let's take final comments before we wrap up.
Bimbo Thomas says, I've always said it, any doctor that is working in Nigeria with the way things are is only being patriotic. Opportunities abound outside, and I'm glad they are leaving to seek those opportunities. Ashiru says, Murayo, even pure water sellers are paying taxes in Oshodi market. Well, it's not remitted. It's not remitted. Adesuwa says, if the government insists, they should reduce their own salaries instead of piling taxes on poor Nigerians without them getting the benefit.
Look, I want you to pause there. You see, we always, that's what Nigerians usually, the first thing, let them reduce their own salary. Even if they reduce it, they let all our leaders today start earning 18,000 naira. Is it going to build your hospital?
Let them start first, then we'll take it.
Is it going to build your hospital? Is it going to pay all the doctors? So the point, I'm not saying
if they earn 18,000 naira that they did not collect back with their left hand.
The important point, because the easiest thing for Nigerians to do is to point a finger, wait, it's them. They're earning so much money. But we also have a role to play. Many businessmen today are running business and not paying taxes to the federal government. So let us all put all the chips on the table.
It's not the child that will tell the father, this is how we run this home. It's the father that will tell the child, this is how we run this home. What we are lacking is a vision. What is the plan for our health system?
The father will not go and call his uncle, Abi. NLC, Abi was in Labour Congress. Now come up, carry placard and shut down the whole of the government saying that because
to be sincere that this is the plan we have. This is our failing system. This is how we are all going to tighten our belts. Right now, all of us who are not traveling, we are going to use our facilities in Nigeria. First of all, that will cut costs. Because that facilities they are traveling about to use, is it not our money they are using? It's the taxpayers' money.
It has not even paid you. It is our monies that were stolen by us and deposited in some banks that developed the economies of those countries where we went to deposit them abroad. And after they have finished using the money have devalued. They have returned the shafts.
Okay, I think I have a final caller. I have to wrap up. Do I have a caller? Good morning, are you there?
May we wake up?
Can I slice in one? Hello? Oh, I think... Hello? You're live. Go ahead, please.
So, why can't those...
Oh, sugar. We lost that call.
Can they please just increase the hazard allowance, though? At least in the minimum. Let's just...
So, that's
all we can take on the show.
Please, Nigerian doctors, use the ones that are in your care to treat people. Why will you send somebody outside to dialysis to a private... Please, let's not be wicked before we call government.
Anyway, my own final comments is that, listen... Government, we've lost that trust in government a lot of time, but whatever we can do as a private, your own part is to play your role properly. And those of you living abroad, if there's anything you can begin to do to support your home, no matter what country you're from, what state you're from, support in Plateau State, in Justin, anywhere, just support the people with your medical profession. Okay, that's all we can take on the show. It's just the beginning of the week. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.